Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, my group will present about research method or approach of studying leisure. First of all, I would like to introduce my group members. My name is REDZMAN bin SALWI.
My name is FARHAN bin Muhammad.
My name is Nurwahidah binti Othaman.
My name is AMIRUL bin RAZALI.
Okay, so we proceed to first slide, which is about leisure.
Alright, first of all, this is the introductions of the research method and approaches in leisure studies. Alright, what is the research method and approaches? It is about the behavior and instruments used in selecting and constructing techniques. Okay, so the examples of use in selecting and constructing technique is the researchers use observation, questionnaire, interview, analysis of records, and case study. Alright, next.
Okay, now this is what of the definition of leisure, sport and tourism, but I just take a specific of leisure only, which is from Roberts, 1978. He said freely undertaken non-work activities, which means the leisure is what we do in freely time and without action or without activity. So during that time, we can make our activity, which is favorite activity during free time, what we call leisure time. Okay, for the sport and tourism, you can read by your own. Okay, next slide. This is another term of leisure in a different researcher, which is first Larson and Verma, Masmini, Carly and Ellis and Witt. Larson and Verma said free time activities should be voluntary and intrinsically motivated, which is in motivation structure we have separate by two, is intrinsic and extrinsic, which is intrinsic is what in our own self and extrinsic is with others, other specification with other by us. Within, for example, when you're looking at the mirror and you say how smart you are, or when you're playing football and the coach motivate you, playing smart, playing hard. That is some example of extrinsic. Okay. The next point is activity that related to high level boredom. This is to prevent ourselves to be bored when during leisure time without any activities. And the second is dimension in leisure include objective and subjective. In leisure, dimension of leisure separate by two terms, which is phenomena, types of phenomena, and the second is what the fact studies or what the point view with other researcher or who study the leisure is a different terms. Okay, next slide. Dimension of leisure, this is objective and subjective is one of the type of phenomena, which is objective is activities, setting and time that we can set our activities or our routine, daily routine in a free time. And the subjective is mental state, emotion, meanings and satisfactions. I will just take a mental state, which is subjective. We must control our mental, or same goes like cognitive, which is we can control our emotions during the activities. If biases with a referee, for example, in the competitive or in the football games. Next.
Next is the meanings of the research. Research is an endeavor to discover answers to intellectual and practical problems through the applications of scientific methods. Okay, we focus at the to discover answers to the intellectual and practical problems. That is, we want to search something that we don't know, and we use the terms of practical problems to find the answer. Alright, so we through the applications of scientific methods. There are so many methods that I told you before. That's how the method we use. Alright, so REDZMAN and MOHD has said, research is always a systemized effort to gain new knowledge. Yeah, so we have to do a research to find a new knowledge and to gain more that we doesn't know. Alright, proceed. Yes, so the objectives of the research: to find the participant hobbies. We must know the participants' hobbies to make sure the hobbies are very useful for their life. Alright, and then the number 2 is frequency of the participant leisure time. How many time they have in their leisure time. Oh my god, okay. So the third one is how the participants spend their leisure time. It is related to the quality of the leisure time. Alright, so number 4 is define the participant routine. We must know their routine to make sure they are not making something are not useful. Okay, so number 5, to determine the characteristics of the participant. We must know that maybe one of the participant being sad or being happy, so we must know the characteristic of the participants. Alright.
Okay, this is 3 structure what we get from leisure study. First, observe and measure the demand task. For example, when we playing a football in a leisure time, we can measure how to kick the ball correctly, the proper way, because we have much time that we can learn how to kick. Okay, that we can measure to the skills and the proper ways. The second term is provide versus practicing profession. For example, the doctor must learn. The doctor have been known the anatomical structure to, for example, to surgery their patients. So the doctor must know some of the anatomical structure that they can learn or they can use to his or her patient. The third is contribute to pursue knowledge. In the leisure time, we can improve or we can increase our knowledge by reading journals, materials, articles, or anything else that we can increase our knowledge for in the future. Next, this is some scope of the leisure, which is in leisure we can do anything like arts or entertaining. For example, karaoke, watching TVs and other else. But in leisure we separate by 3: tourism, sport tourism, and sport. Local sport we can play other kind of sport. For example, football, handball, netball, and other kind of sports that we can play in the leisure times. For the last is business travel. Business travel including in the tourisms, which is we can make a business while we traveling. For example, we go to other places and we can sell our clothes or anything else to the tourism or to the states, to the volunteers. Yes. Next slide. This is example how we treat ourselves or audience in the leisure time. They can rate their emotions or their feelings when they are doing in their leisure time. For example, they playing a football or other else like sleeping or other else, so they can rate how they are feeling in that time. So we can know sad, anger, or anything as he enjoy in the leisure times. Okay.
So we will proceed to the research process. They have 5, which is purpose, audience, focus, method, and data. So we will go through one by one. For the purpose that this is simplifies, establish a general starting point, which is before we do some research, we need to know the main point that we want to know. Is it we want to know how many times that they do during their leisure times. The second one is audience. When we do a research, we need to find one groups that we can observe. We cannot do in a big amount of people. We need to just take a few of them to be our audience for make us easy to observe. The third one is focus. When we do a research, we need to focus to something like the quality of the leisure time. We need to do the research based on what we want to know, the aim point that we want to research. The fourth one is method. For the method, there are many types of methods. So we need to find just one method that can be used that related to what we want to know. Like we want to know the quality of the leisure time. So we can give the questionnaire to them, make observations. Is it the leisure time of the people can give the quality for them. The last one is data. For the data, we need to go through one by one this step before we get the data. For the data, there are a few types of data. We can go for the next slide. Okay, this is the type of data. We can go through one by one. Okay, the first one is descriptive and analytical research. For descriptive, we can observe from the characteristic of the individual, such as these persons love to play football. So they just simplify that this person can always play football during their leisure times. For analyticals, we need to find something that we need to go for observations, and we can know is it he go for playing football, like he is a player footballs. The second one is apply and fundamental. For the apply, we find the knowledge, like we know that playing football can give us a healthy lifestyle, and we apply that point in our real life, like during our leisure time we go to playing football because they have advantage for ourselves. And for the fundamentals is when people have a knowledge that playing football can give their healthy lifestyle, but they do not take any actions, or they do not take the knowledge into their real life. Next is quantitative and qualitative. For the quantitative, that is quantity, which is amounts of the people. We can know by count how many people that usually go for leisure time. They can know exactly amount people that usually do something during their leisure time. But for qualitative, they need to find some things that, like REDZMAN said, we can go for need certifications. Like we can give questionnaire. Is it they happy during their leisure times? So we can find that the quality of the leisure time at the questionnaire. The last one is conceptual and empirical. For the conceptual, we using the theory or system during their observation. We cannot just find with what we observe only. We need the theory and system. But for the empirical, we do not use any system or theory. We just go for observation. We just see that everyone loves to play a sport during their leisure time. So we just take that as a conclusion of the leisure time activities. So next is research method.
Okay, we proceed to research method. Research method has two study. First study is free time activity checklist and list of favorite activity. The second study is personal device assistant, which is PDA. Next. Okay, we proceed to free time activity checklist. Okay, they were introduced by Brada and Lokantrick at 2004. Okay, participant need to write down all of favorite leisure activity. So I take an example. Okay, Osman loves to do football, cycling, swimming, and so on. They like to do many activity. And then the favorite activity that he loves, he needs to relate with their surrounding, which is, I take a simple sport, which is football. Football, we need to play as a teammates, group, teamwork, teammates, and then need to make a strong strategy and formation to make a win or goals. Okay, so they need to relate with the surrounding to become a champion or win the title. Okay, these are the example for outdoor activity for kids. You can go ahead. Next. Okay, we proceed to the second study. The second study is PDA, which is Personal Digital Assistant. They were introduced by Bolger, Davis, and Raffaelli at 2003. The aim is to gather all the great elements of each individual, which means we focus on the leisure, because we need to find the gather of the great elements of each individual about the leisure. So it depends on the function. If the function to find the hobby, and then it's become the hobby. And that's the other names for PDA, which is Experience Sampling Program. And then the participant actually need to carry the PDA device, which is the apps, for 7 consecutive days. Then next, the procedure for PDA. The PDA will give a tone signal 5 times per day from 9 AM until 11 PM. So the participant, also Osman, example, need to respond to the signal by answering the question at the apps. So the question depend on what Osman do at the time. For example, if Osman playing football at the time, at the tone signal were ringing, he need to type that he are playing football. Understand? Okay. So next is answering the question within 3 minutes. If beyond the 3 minutes, the apps the trial will sleep mode, which is they are ringing at the next trial. So the frequent answer, which is Osman did, will be the free time activity. Means that if Osman are playing football every single day, so the most frequent activity at leisure time Osman is playing football, just like that. Next. Okay, these are the example of PDA. Number 1 and number 2.
Application.
Okay. The application.
Yeah. Next.
That's right.
So this is the reference where we get all the information, which is we find from the book Researching Leisure, Sport and Tourism.
Yes.
The second one is Australian Leisure, and the third one is a social psychology of leisure. Actually, we want to do some quiz, but it's okay. I will explain why we choose do this quiz, because we can apply this method with the 5th process, which is the first one. Why I do this quiz? Because I want to make sure all the participants in this class can understand what we are presenting. And the second one is audience. So I choose my classmate as my audience to we observe. The third one is focus. What I focus is I want to make sure each people in this class can understand and get the information. The fourth one is method. Method that I use is give the answer, make a quiz, and pick any people in this class to answer, and we can get the quality. Is it the individual can understand all the information that we give? The data we can get after we done the quiz. Is it all the participants in this class can understand, or just a few of them? So that's all from us. Thank you.